All right, gang, I am off to the cinema tonight to go check out Kong Skull Island.
Is that a monkey?
This is a good group of boys. We're all gonna die together out here. You shouldn't have come here.
Okay, gang, I got a question for you. Greatest King Kong ever. 1, the 1933 original. 2, the 1976 remake. 3, Peter Jackson's 2005 remake. Or 4, Bundy.
Like Jones is hurt, Esty. Look out, avalanche! Just crushed him. Oh my God!
And a giant smash.
It's over.
It's over just like that, King.
I know. The choices are too good. They all have their quirks. I can't decide. All right, I just got out of Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, you smell that? That's death.
Spoiler alert, this movie, not nearly as awesome as King Kong Bundy.
Just crushed him. Oh my God!
I'm sorry, it just isn't. Now, what you may or may not realize about Kong Skull Island is it's not like slavishly remaking that movie mythology that we are all very familiar with. So in that respect, that's kind of refreshing. What it is a reboot. And it's also a spiritual prequel to Gareth Edwards' Godzilla film from a few years ago. In that respect, Kong Skull Island might be the very first pre-boot quill in motion picture history. So this film is not set in the modern day. It is set in the early 1970s, just after America's defeat in the Vietnam War. Or did they abandon the war, as one character said? And it's about this scientific expedition led by a character played by John Goodman, who is going out to the fabled and mysterious Skull Island, which has been uncharted. And of course, as we all know, with any uncharted island, monsters most definitely probably reside there.
This planet doesn't belong to us.
Probably in the form of 100-foot apes. Holy and shit. So Goodman's character decides to embark on this massive military convoy to the island led by Samuel L. Jackson, and in turn he also has an expert tracker played by Tom Hiddleston. In turn he also has a photographer played by Brie Larson, and so on and so forth. So
these are photos of an island in the South Pacific.
The place where myth and science meet.
I see the bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way.
Is that a monkey?
So they journey to Skull Island, and wouldn't you know it, there are indeed man-hungry monsters on this island. Shit gets real. I was very glad that this wasn't a beat-for-beat slavish remake of the original 1933 King Kong, which is what the 2005 Peter Jackson remake kind of was. HD DVD.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
And that film, to me, it felt like it was 9,000 hours long. Let's be honest. That film was self-indulgently bloated and long. So I kind of dug that. Like, it's not trying to emulate that Beauty and the Beast sort of weird beast and woman love story that was present in the 33 original, as well as the 1976 remake. I also like the fact that, too, it was kind of set in the 1970s, which gives the film a very distinct period decor and flavor that I quite enjoyed. Also, this film, at times, is really quite lush and painterly to actually look at. King Kong in this film is much more bipedal than he was in the Peter Jackson remake. I don't know if they're trying to emulate the man in a suit vibe that we got from the 1976 remake, because obviously King Kong was done as a man in a suit in that film. So he pretty much walks like a man in this movie.
Kong's pretty good, King. Keeps to himself mostly. Well, you don't go into someone's house and start dropping bombs unless you're picking a fight.
Although he certainly has, gorilla-like physical characteristics. Let's not make any mistake about that. The visual effects are completely on point, and they are spectacular. And when this movie throws down in the action sequences, and again in that monster versus monster mayhem, holy and shit. Kong Skull Island is an unqualified success. It wholeheartedly delivers, and I was really thrust within the film, and this film had my attention, and I found it exciting, and I found it exhilarating, and it was kind of mesmerizing, I gotta say. Everything else around the film was just lackluster, and for starters, this film is way too overloaded with characters. And there's absolutely no character development of these characters whatsoever, to the point where you just don't give a shit about any of them, especially when most of them start dropping like flies as a result of King Kong's fight with all these various monsters on the island. This cast, again, you have Tom Hiddleston, John Goodman, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly. I count Oscar winners and Oscar nominated actors, multiple Oscar nominated actors in there, and they're given characters with absolutely no depth or personality.
Crash site's just on the other side of this valley.
We'll cross through and make it to the highest point west.
This place is a real no-no, sir.
I'll rephrase that. There are a couple of characters that do have some personality. First of all, John C. Reilly's pilot character. Now, he basically was a World War II pilot that crash landed on Skull Island in the 1940s, and he has been there ever since.
Whoa. Your friend there can put that down.
He's the only character that has a scintilla of interest and personality, and he has sort of a developed backstory that you do actually kind of care about.
But the devils live below us. I call them skull crawlers. Why? Because it sounds neat.
Okay.
Look, I just made that name up. I'm trying to scare you.
Samuel L. Jackson's military man, he's kind of in the, mustache twirling, obligatory military villain character who has this vendetta against King Kong because King Kong, basically inadvertently killed a bunch of his men when they first appeared on the island, and Kong was just defending his territories.
You are going to tell me everything I don't know, or I'm going to blow your head off.
Jackson's character has this absolutely unstoppable thirst to seek bloody vengeance on King Kong.
Men, what you're looking at is a monster from some bygone era.
Beyond that, the character dynamics are null and void, and they are AWOL in this film. Why get an actor like Tom Hiddleston, who's so brilliant as Loki in the Thor films and Avengers and so forth, and he's basically in like Saturday matinee idol mode.
Let me list all the ways you're gonna die. Rain, heat, disease-carrying flies, and we haven't started on the things that want to eat you alive.
He looks really handsome. He looks good in the film. He's just not given much to do. His character is afforded, again, no depth of personality. Brie Larson just won an Oscar for Room. She is an incredible actress, and her character is so flimsy and so dead on the page. It's kind of like I found it really embarrassing to watch these great actors kind of slum it and phone it in with these really nothing parts.
This is what's left of Kong's parents.
I've taken enough photos of mass graves to recognize one.
And then there's Kong himself. The one thing that I took away from all of the Kong iterations, the 33 version, the 76 version, and the 2005 version, is that Kong has his own character. He has his own personality. And he's a real tragic character that you feel sympathy for. By the end of those 3 films, you feel bad that he dies. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen those 3 films. But this Kong really has no character. He's basically a gigantic monster that's at the service of this film's story to basically appear and disappear when the screenplay deems it convenient to either assist all the other heroic characters to defend themselves from the monsters and also to show up in the film's big epic climax. But beyond that, Kong's really not developed well as a monster or as an entity, at least as much as he was in the previous King Kong versions. You don't really side with Kong in any way. I found myself at a point of just completely emotional indifference to this film. I didn't really care about Kong. I didn't really care about the characters that were populating this film around Kong. I didn't care about any characters dying. The film just was a lot of glossy spectacle and not much else. I gotta say, it was a pretty empty-minded movie. Maybe I'm expecting too much. A lot of people have been describing this as a glorious $200 million B movie, and I can certainly understand this film's schlocky B-grade eccentricities. But I guess I was really demanding more from this cast, more from this rebooted storyline, and I found Kong Skull Island ultimately to be disappointing. Run! So there you go. There's my review of Kong Skull Island. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the film. Also, let me know in the comments below how you feel about this film in relation to the previous King Kong films. Once again, thank you very much for watching. If you could like this video, I'd really appreciate it. If you could subscribe to my channel, give me some subscribe love. That would mean the absolute world to me. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you at the movies.
Just crushed him! Oh my God!